The freeze on federal funding comes to a halt as the White House pulls back on its plan that would have had a major impact on people everywhere. Meanwhile, local protesters at the state capitol share their fears about how those cuts could change their lives. And what were those strange lights in the sky that many reported seeing last night all across southern Wisconsin? We'll tell you what we know. You're watching News 3 Now at 5. President Trump's freeze on federal grants has been taken off the table for now. The action comes from his budget office without explanation just a few hours ago, and it coincides with a job buyout offer to nearly 2 million civilian federal employees, and the deportation of undocumented migrants continues across the country. Danya Backus has the latest from Los Angeles.
This afternoon, the president's budget office rescinded an order to freeze spending on federal grants.
Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid have not been affected. We are merely looking at parts of the big bureaucracy where there has been tremendous waste and fraud and abuse.
The directive would have affected states, schools, and organizations that rely on trillions of dollars from Washington, a spending cut plan Democrats slammed.
This has woken up the American people about what this administration is up to.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says removing the order is meant to clear up confusion, adding executive orders issued on funding reviews remain in full force and effect. On Tuesday, the Trump administration sent a letter to the nation's nearly 2 million civilian federal workers, offering a buyout to those who don't want to return to the office full time.
We think a very substantial number of people will not show up to work, and therefore our government will get smaller and more efficient.
Today, President Trump signed into law his first piece of legislation since retaking office. The Laken-Riley Act mandates the detention and potential deportation of people in the U.S. illegally who are charged with theft or violent crimes.
It's a landmark law that we're doing today. It's going to save countless innocent American lives.
We're out arresting numerous cases throughout the state that were all public safety cases.
Meanwhile, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, continues to carry out targeted enforcement actions around the country. This one in Baltimore, Maryland, resulted in a series of arrests. Danya Backus, CBS News.
Well, the president says his administration will open a detention center at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, to hold up to 30,000 migrants who have entered the U.S. illegally. Well, today, senators challenged Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on his ability to run the Department of Health and Human Services. Kennedy, known for his controversial stance on health issues, and he denied being an anti-vaxxer despite past comments that sparked criticism. Democrats pressed Kennedy on a wide range of issues and accused him of lying.
Are you lying to Congress today when you say you are pro-vaccine? Or did you lie on all those podcasts? We have all of this on tape, by the way.
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
That is a pejorative, Senator, that's applied to me, mainly to keep me from asking difficult questions.
Kennedy also faced questions about his stance on abortion and whether he has the ability to reform Medicare and Medicaid. And he'll be back on Capitol Hill tomorrow for more questioning before another Senate committee. Well, let's get a quick check of your first warn forecast. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington out on the weather patio. Alex.
And not as bundled up as I have been the past couple of days. Now, it's been warm the past couple of days, just really, really windy. Today's winds weren't quite as strong. And actually out here in the patio, it's calm wind-wise right now, and I'm dressed in just a little bit less from a coat perspective out there. But I do want to make note, though, because we have low humidity values, we have all this exposed dry fuels, as it's called, the breezy conditions that we have had and will continue to have, in very mild temperatures in the forecast, that we have an elevated fire danger right now across southern Wisconsin. Some of those gusts today, 25 to 30 miles per hour, but we're not seeing the 40 and 50 mile per hour wind gusts that we've seen the past 2 days. Nevertheless, gusty enough out there. Right now, our wind gusts, as I just mentioned, have settled down, so that's certainly good news across southern Wisconsin from a fire danger perspective. But they will be back up again, those gusts, as we get in to Thursday. Current temperature 41 degrees. Normal high is 27 degrees in Madison, and it's 40 in Middleton, 41 one in Edgerton, upper 30s to lower 40s across all of southern Wisconsin. As we plan the rest of our evening, temperatures staying warmer than our normal high temperature all the way up through 10 o'clock. And speaking of high temperatures, I want to talk about record warmth coming up in Maine weather and the very latest on some precipitation chances in our future. That's in just a few minutes.
All right, Alex, thank you. Just moments after President Trump decided to pull back a bit on the federal funding freeze, a small group met at the state capitol to protest the administration. Our Tanisha Shaw talked to those gathered about the changes they want to see.
There's so many things going on with this new administration, and they're just kind of shocking and awing everybody.
Protesters at the Capitol Wednesday say they're scared.
I'm kind of just thinking the next few weeks, take a few weeks at a time. I'm having a hard time even thinking forward further than that because I don't know how things are going to change just day to day, week to week.
President Trump officially started his term January 20th. I spoke to a parent that is afraid of the future for their kids because of the administration change.
I have kids and I'm really scared for their future, and I'm scared for what this could look like going forward with everything that's, trying to get through right now. And if we don't stand up now, then eventually they come for me, they come for my kids, and I have to stand up now while I can.
The group also protested against any Social Security reductions.
Well, I am of an age where I just retired, and I will be, using Social Security and Medicare eventually. And this is something that I and millions of Americans have paid into. It's not a charity. It's not a giveaway from the government.
The group met inside and outside the Capitol. They put a mask on the forward statue that looked like Elon Musk and put dollar signs around it.
He's a rich guy. He bought the election. He bought America. We don't want him.
Roughly 20 people met. They said they're not with a specific organization. They're just concerned and trying to find community.
If something happens and we're not able to connect on social media or in other ways, just knowing that there's a community, there's a group here that we can find our voice, that we can come together as a group and find our power and know that we're not alone and that there is something that we can do.
Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Police in Madison say they've recovered a stolen gun and drugs from a vehicle that was apparently involved in 2 hit-and-run crashes last night. Officers say a white sedan ran a red light at John Nolan Drive at Willie Street about 9:30. The car then drove off from a traffic stop, hit a parked car near Williamson at South Patterson. Then the vehicle was reported to have hit another unoccupied car on Atwood Avenue in the 2300 block near Atwood Scoop. No arrests have been made, and if you have any information, you're asked to contact Madison Police or Madison Area Crime Stoppers. 2 people are now safe after being rescued from a balcony during a fire. Madison Fire saying crews were called to North Lincoln Ridge Drive, just north of High Point Park, for a fire in an apartment complex. Firefighters say it started at 7 last night in a second-story apartment. A neighbor was able to put it out with an extinguisher, and the 2 rescued people are now displaced, but are being helped by the Red Cross. The fire's cause is believed to be from what's being described as an improvised heating device. In Fitchburg, a vehicle that was stolen from a delivery driver was used in an attempt to break into a pawn shop, and police are now looking for the thief. That vehicle was at University Avenue at Lake Street when it was stolen before 11 Sunday night. Later on, the same vehicle was used to try to break into the pawn shop. The gray sedan still missing and may have front-end damage. If you have any information, you're asked to contact police. Well, coming up tomorrow night in Lodi, the high school boys varsity basketball team hosting a pink out night to raise breast cancer awareness. A local community member and owner of the Hair Haven Salon, Sadie Coons, was diagnosed with breast cancer back in October. She's a coach and mother of 3 and says the outpouring of support from the community has been great, and a lot has gone in to setting up this event.
I would just love everybody to come out if you can. It's going to be a great event. A lot of work went into this. The ladies and the guys on our basketball board did an amazing job.
Well, the junior varsity game starts at 6. The varsity will play at 7 against Columbus. It's at Lodi High School. That's on Sauk Street in Lodi. Coons says there'll be raffle baskets, a banner wall, a toss the duck game, and more. And all money raised will go to helping Coons with medical costs. Not a bad day out there. Alex back with our complete first warn forecast next. And the Federal Reserve talking about interest rates again, what was decided or not decided at its meeting today. And their approach did send stocks downward on Wall Street. The Dow falls 137 points, and NASDAQ loses 101. The S&P 500 off more than 28. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Tax season is officially here. The IRS started accepting and processing tax returns on Monday. The deadline to file, of course, is April 15th. There are some important new changes that taxpayers should know. Jen Sullivan has tips to help you through the process of filing.
You can now begin filing your 2024 taxes, and there are benefits to filing early.
One of the biggest benefits is the refund.
Lisa Green Lewis with TurboTax says the sooner you file, the sooner you'll receive a refund if you're owed money. Last year, the IRS says the average refund was slightly over $3,100.
For some people, that's the biggest check they get all year.
If you make a mistake, you'll have plenty of time to fix it after the IRS notifies you of an error.
One of the most common mistakes is just gathering the wrong Social Security number for your dependents.
One of the biggest changes this year, if you were paid for goods or services through a payment app or online marketplace, and the transactions combined exceeded $5,000, you may get a 1099-K.
When you sign up for those platforms to either take payment or make sales, they're going to take all of your information, your personal information and the like, probably your Social Security number or an EIN if you're a business. So they're going to issue it right to you.
Andy Phillips with H&R Block says taxpayers who have had a life-changing event in 2024 will also see big changes. That means if you got married, had a child, purchased a home for the first time, moved to a new state, or started receiving Social Security. For parents who file jointly and make less than $400,000 a year, you could receive a child tax credit for all children under the age of 17 at the end of the tax year.
Up to $1,700 of that $2,000 is refundable. What that means is you can get that even if you don't owe taxes.
Other tax credits offered up to $7,500 for buying an electric vehicle. And if you made any energy efficient changes to your home, you could also qualify for a credit. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Now, most tax filers will receive a refund within 21 days after it's received by the IRS. If you're unable to file by the April 15th deadline, of course, you can file for an extension. Well, inflation has been creeping back up in recent months, and the Federal Reserve hoping to change that once again. Its latest interest rate decision is to do nothing. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell believes keeping rates at current levels will slow the economy and eventually help push inflation down from 2.9% to the Fed's target of just 2%. But those high rates also make it more difficult for people who want to borrow money. The average credit card rate remains above 20%. The average used car loan just under 11%.
The economy remains strong and inflation does not continue to move sustainably toward 2%. We can maintain policy restraint for longer.
And the Federal Reserve meets again in March, and economists believe it is likely the board will once again leave interest rates at current levels. The Trump administration insists tariffs will not lead to widespread inflation. Powell says the board is watching and waiting before offering an opinion. Well, after a roughly 3-year downturn in sales and performance, Wisconsin-based retailer Kohl's is laying off roughly 10% of its corporate headquarters workforce. That's located in Menominee Falls near Milwaukee. Right now, the company employs about 4,000 people there. And this move will cut about 400 jobs. The decision comes as a new CEO takes over, but Kohl's says half of the job cuts are unfilled positions. Kohl's has not said how many filled jobs are included in this round of layoffs. The Wausau Common Council is hiring outside attorneys for its ethics board amid an ongoing complaint against Mayor Doug Dinney. The complaint stems from that handling of the ballot drop box last year where he placed it in his office, saying it had been improperly secured. Now, some residents are frustrated as they agree with the mayor and disagree with using tax dollars for the investigation. Wausau has now retained legal counsel, which reportedly costs $250 an hour. From all across our viewing area, we got videos like this one that you're seeing right now on your screen last night. Residents from Lodi to Madison, all the way over to the Milwaukee area, saw what looked like a meteor streaking across the sky. Now, based on official reports, those streaks were part of a Starlink satellite, 5693, re-entering the atmosphere. Officials say it entered over parts of southern Wisconsin and Michigan just after 9 last night. A full look now at your first warn forecast. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joins us. The full story, Alex.
The full story here. Let's start off with the 3 things you got to get out of the forecast. 50s on Thursday. We're record high temperatures. How close to that record are we going to be? The record high is 47 back in 1974. Wait till I show you how warm we're going to go for on Thursday. We're still keeping an eye on a weather system for Friday morning. I'll tell you who stands the best chance here in just a moment for that precipitation. And then this weekend as well, little precipitation across southern Wisconsin, but not everyone's going to see precipitation over the course of the next couple of days. Do want to call out again, we have low humidity values with the breezy conditions over the past couple days, mild temperatures, records expected by the time we get into Thursday, and all that open dry fuels because we don't have a snowpack across southern Wisconsin. We do have an elevated fire risk, and part of that elevated risk is the low humidity, but look at our wind gusts, 20 to 25 mile per hour wind gusts across all of southern Wisconsin today. Not the 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts that we have been seeing, so that's certainly some improvement there, but still gusty, and that promotes that fire risk. Future track wind gusts, we are going to calm down tonight. So it's going to be a peaceful night in the wind department, but the winds go back up as we go into Thursday. Already by 6 a.m., we're starting to see 20 mile per hour to 30 mile per hour wind gusts over portions of southwestern Wisconsin. And throughout the daytime, it will be breezy, but then by the time we get into Thursday night, those breezes will relax again. So very similar to what we experienced today. We'll see those breezes get up there, and then they'll relax by the time we get a little bit later into Thursday. But then the breezes come back and come out of the north as we get into Friday with that weather system I'll mention in just a couple of moments. These are our high temperatures expected tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is nearing the very last day of January. Average high temperature, 27. We're going to be in the low to mid 50s across all of southern Wisconsin with those sunny skies and that bit of that breeze out there. I've shown this graphic a couple of times, but it really is an important graphic to show. All the way back in the middle of January, we were 25 degrees above normal, 50 back on Friday the 17th. Then the rug just pulled out from underneath us. We had temperatures struggling to get above zero just days ago on Monday and Tuesday of last week. And here we have climbed all the way back up this roller coaster ride, 50 degrees yesterday. That's 22 degrees above normal. And tomorrow we're going to go for a high of 53 degrees. The precipitation that we're expected over the course of the next couple days, generally going to stay south on Friday. Saturday, generally going to stay north with some clearing later on Sunday. Join us at 6 o'clock. I'll take us with Future Track to show you both of those weather systems. But right now, Madison's going to be right in the midline. Areas to the north of Madison Saturday, areas to the south of Madison Friday stand the better chances for precipitation. Right now, though, it's warm out there. 41 in Madison, 43 in Boscoville, and 41 in Janesville. Zooming into Dane County, got some upper 30s to the west. But remember, these temperatures are 10 plus degrees above normal for our high temperature for this time of year. And as we plan the rest of your evening, the winds are easing up, and we'll still be at 30 degrees. We'll still be above our normal high at 10 o'clock at night. Going forward here through the weekend, again, that mix south on Friday. Saturday, maybe a couple snow showers to the north of Madison. 48 again on Sunday. That could be approaching a record high temperature on Sunday as well. And that's Groundhog's Day. Looking at clouds right now in the morning, but it'll be a fine line. We'll keep an eye on that forecast. Turning seasonable, meaning we cool down next week. Eric.
There you go. Excellent work on the graphic, Alex,
You're
for
welcome.
Groundhog Day. I like it. Just ahead at 5, how too much candy turned out to be a really good thing for a Wisconsin fourth grader. The story after the break.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
In Plymouth, Wisconsin, up in Sheboygan County, a fourth grader with armfuls of candy bars and the desire to help has raised enough money to break the school's fundraising goal all by himself. Mackenzie Hamill reports.
This is the candy bars and stuff. Abel Fouts is as soft-spoken as it gets, but don't let that fool you. When it comes to charity work, he's a force to be reckoned with.
This is his third year doing it.
Abel is a superstar fundraising participant for the American Heart Association. He says it's all to help people.
Every day, like in the line at pickup, Abel's family, when's the heart challenge kicking off? When's the heart challenge kicking off? And I'm kind of like, hey, it's September.
The challenge doesn't even officially begin until February 7th, and Abel has not only surpassed his goal,
but then he knew that the school goal was 4,000. He's like, we can do this. And I'm like, we can do this, Abel.
So with just candy bars and lemonade stands,
he raised $4,018.17.
That's a lot of money.
What'd you say?
I reached out to his mom and I said, oh my goodness, he's at it again. He is the top student so far in my territory and the top in the state as far as I know.
When I saw the numbers, I was just blown away, and I'm like, wow, this guy does take it pretty serious.
Abel wants to secure his spot as top fundraiser, which earns him the privilege of naming his school's gym. His pick, Chris Helmer.
Our old principal who died from cancer.
I did a story with the Helmer family after Chris's passing in the fall. They said he made a great impact on his students during his time as an educator.
He's missed, and you can tell that his spirit still lives on in our school building.
Abel says it's a way to remember Mr. Helmer while also giving back to a good cause.
How does that make you feel? Happy. Yeah. Do you feel like you're making a difference?
His dad said to me, we named him Abel because everybody is able to help out. Everybody's able to make a difference.
Abel and his family's next pop-up candy sale is this Saturday at Sheboygan's Southside Piggly Wiggly.
Now, to help Abel out, you go to www.heart.org, and then you click on the Kids Heart Challenge, put in Horizon Elementary School. We'll be right back. Final check of your First Warn forecast.
Tonight, part 2 of our story about Barbara Goodfriend, who suffered from a fatal disease and chose to end her life with medication prescribed by a doctor.
It's called medical aid in dying, and it's legal in 8 states. That is our Eye on America on the CBS Evening News.
Visitors to the Louvre will eventually need a separate ticket just to see the Mona Lisa. Leonardo da Vinci's famed 16th century painting is getting its own room at the Paris Museum. Now, this is part of an expansion and renovation that'll also see a new entrance for the world's largest museum. Now, the goal is to ease overcrowding. Right now, about 9 million people visit the Louvre each year. French President Emmanuel Macron says he wants to grow that number to 12 million. Well, Alex is back. Final check of the forecast. Felt like the wind was a little calmer.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice out there earlier today.
It was really nice today. Actually, I did a walk. I broke a sweat because it wasn't so breezy.
A sweat?
A little bit.
40 degrees?
40 degrees. I didn't do shorts though, like some folks.
Oh yeah, you see that this time of year. Crack 35 and you see shorts.
There'll be people in shorts
For
tomorrow,
sure.
no doubt. Look at what we're up against tomorrow. 53 for our high temperature tomorrow. People wear shorts at 47. We'll be in the low to mid 50s on Thursday as we see little precipitation between Friday and Saturday. By the time we get to Sunday, yet at potentially breaking another record high temperature, and that's Groundhog's Day, so that's an important day for, we're going to transition away from winter or spring, but first, that future storm lineup, I think most of the weather is going to stay from Madison and points south with this system on Friday, and the Saturday weather system mostly Madison areas towards the north with a little bit of clearing later on Sunday. Tune in at 6. I'll use Future Track to show you where that rain and snow will line up Friday going on into Saturday, and the latest on the Groundhog's Day forecast coming up too tonight at 10.
Your rival, the groundhog. There he is. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News.